I spent over 10 years programming slot machines for one of the largest casino manufacturers in the industry. I wrote the code, I set the parameters, and I knew exactly how these machines were designed to take your money. But there are 7 specific machines I worked on that I would never program again. Not because they were illegal, but because of what they do to players. And machine number 4 on this list, the casino actually tried to prevent me from discussing it publicly. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which machines to walk past, and more importantly, why I refuse to be associated with them anymore. Let's start with the first machine that still keeps me up at night.
Machine number 1 is the Wheel of Fortune Triple Extreme Spin. Now, before you say that everyone knows Wheel of Fortune machines are bad, let me explain why this particular version is so much worse than the others. When I was brought in to work on the programming parameters for this machine, I immediately noticed something disturbing in the code. The base game return to player percentage was set at 85.7%. That's lower than almost any other machine I'd worked on. But here's what made it truly predatory. The Triple Extreme Spin has 3 different wheel bonus rounds: bronze, silver, and gold. The programming was designed so that the bronze wheel would trigger approximately 70% of the time when you finally hit a wheel bonus. And the bronze wheel? It typically pays between 10 and 50 times your bet. So let me break down the math for you. If you're betting $2 per spin, you might go through 300 spins before triggering any wheel bonus. That's $600 in total bets. Then, when the bonus finally triggers, you get the bronze wheel 70% of the time, which pays you maybe $20 to $40. But the truly insidious part was the gamble feature. After you trigger a wheel, the machine gives you the option to gamble your wheel tier for a chance at a higher one. The interface makes it look like you have a 50-50 chance, but the actual probability coded into the machine was closer to 1 in 10 for successfully gambling from bronze to silver, and 1 in 20 for silver to gold.
I watched the testing data, and approximately 85% of players took the gamble. Most of them lost everything. I remember sitting in a meeting where management discussed the psychology behind this. They knew players would gamble because nobody wants the bronze wheel when there's a chance at gold. They literally designed the gamble feature to capitalize on human disappointment and hope. That's when I started questioning what I was doing. I was 26 years old, fresh out of college with a computer science degree, and I was programming machines to exploit human psychology. The Wheel of Fortune Triple Extreme Spin is still on casino floors today. You'll recognize it by the 3-tier wheel display and the flashy animations. My advice? Walk past it every single time. The math is brutal, and the gamble feature is designed to make you throw away even the small wins you manage to get. Machine number 2 might surprise you because Buffalo Gold is incredibly popular. Players love it, but that's exactly the problem. Let me tell you what I learned when I was asked to analyze the performance data for the Buffalo Gold standard version, not the deluxe, not the collection, just the original Buffalo Gold. The machine has a base game RTP of around 88%, which isn't great, but isn't the worst I've seen. The issue is with how the free spins bonus is programmed. The bonus triggers approximately once every 150 spins. When you're betting $1 per spin, that's $150 to trigger a feature. Here's what the data showed.
Out of every 100 bonus rounds, 72 of them paid less than 50 times the triggering bet. But every once in a while, maybe 1 in every 60 or 70 bonuses, the machine would hit what we internally called a super bonus. This is where you get a screen full of buffalo symbols and multipliers, and you win 300, 500, maybe even 1,000 times your bet. And here's the manipulation. Those super bonuses are what keep people playing. I've watched players sit at Buffalo Gold for 8, 10, 12 hours, chasing that one big bonus they saw someone else hit. The machine is programmed with something called reinforcement scheduling.
It gives you just enough small bonuses to keep you engaged, but spaces out the big wins far enough that you'll lose significantly more than you'll ever win back. I saw the spreadsheets. Over a 3-month testing period with thousands of simulated sessions, the average player loss on Buffalo Gold was 42% of their total money inserted. That's not a typo. For every $100 put into the machine, the average player walked away with $58. What bothered me most was watching real player data. We had access to anonymized play sessions, and I saw patterns of players returning day after day, clearly chasing losses. One particular account showed someone playing Buffalo Gold almost daily for 6 months. Their net loss was over $18,000. When I brought this up in a meeting suggesting we might want to adjust the volatility to be more player-friendly, I was told that Buffalo Gold was one of our most profitable products and that players loved the excitement. That's when I realized the industry doesn't care about entertainment value. They care about extraction efficiency. Buffalo Gold is efficient. If you see this machine, especially the standard version with the sunset background, remember that those super bonuses you're chasing are specifically spaced out to maximize your losses while giving you just enough hope to keep playing.
Machine number 3 is Lightning Link Happy Lantern, and this one's particularly insidious because of something called near-miss programming. Now let me be clear, what I'm about to tell you is completely legal, but it's ethically questionable at best. Lightning Link games all use a hold and spin feature. You need 6 special symbols to trigger it. When I was reviewing the code for Happy Lantern specifically, I noticed that the near-miss frequency was set significantly higher than other Lightning Link games. What does that mean? It means the game was programmed to show you 5 special symbols far more often than random chance would dictate. You'd see 5 golden coins land on the reels, feel that rush of excitement, think you're so close, and then keep playing. Except the game was designed to show you that pattern repeatedly without actually triggering the feature. The technical term is frustration programming. You're not supposed to call it that in meetings, but that's what we called it in private. I ran the numbers on Happy Lantern. In 10,000 simulated spins, the game showed 5 special symbols approximately 320 times, but it only triggered the actual hold and spin bonus 62 times. That's a near-miss rate of over 5 to 1. Compare that to other Lightning Link games where the ratio is closer to 2 to 1, and you can see how Happy Lantern was specifically programmed to keep you engaged through frustration. But here's what really bothered me. The hold and spin feature on Happy Lantern, even when you trigger it, is programmed to be disappointing most of the time.
The average payout was 12 to 18 times your bet. If you're betting 50 cents per spin, you might wait 80 spins or $40 in bets to trigger a feature that pays you $8. The math doesn't make sense for the player, but it makes perfect sense for the casino. I remember a specific case study we reviewed. A player we tracked had triggered the Happy Lantern hold and spin over 200 times across multiple sessions. Only 9 of those bonuses paid more than 100 times their bet. The rest were small wins that barely put a dent in their overall losses. After 6 months of play, this person was down over $11,000, and the psychological profiles suggested they kept playing because they felt like they were always close to a big win. The near-miss programming creates a false sense of proximity to success. Your brain interprets 5 out of 6 symbols as being close, even though mathematically 5 out of 6 is exactly as far from winning as 0 out of 6. The game exploits this cognitive bias deliberately. When I see Happy Lantern on a casino floor now, with its bright red and gold colors and Chinese lantern theme, I think about how many people are sitting there experiencing programmed frustration. Walk away from this one. The near misses aren't bad luck, they're by design.
Machine number 4 is the one I mentioned at the beginning, the Game of Thrones slot machine, specifically when played in Targaryen mode. And yes, a casino actually threatened legal action to prevent me from discussing this publicly. Here's what happened. I was working as a contractor for a major slot manufacturer when they secured the Game of Thrones license. The machine has 4 different game modes, one for each house: Baratheon, Lannister, Stark, and Targaryen. During development, I was assigned to work on the volatility settings for each mode. Targaryen was designed to be the highest volatility mode because marketing research showed it would be the most popular. Everyone loves dragons. The problem was how extreme they made the volatility. The RTP for Targaryen mode was set at 86.3%, which is low but not unheard of. The issue was the bonus frequency and payout distribution. In Targaryen mode, the free spins bonus was programmed to trigger approximately once every 350 spins. That's significantly less frequent than the other modes, which averaged around 180 spins. When the bonus did trigger, the pay table was weighted so heavily toward minimum payouts that 79% of bonuses paid less than 30 times your bet. So if you're betting $3 per spin, you're spending over $1,000 to trigger a bonus that pays you less than $90 most of the time. But here's where it gets really dark. The machine also has a gamble feature after certain wins. In Targaryen mode, this gamble feature was programmed to fail 87% of the time, yet the visual interface made it look like a 50-50 proposition.
I raised concerns about this in internal communications, specifically pointing out that the gamble feature in Targaryen mode was essentially a trap that would lead to significant player complaints. What happened next was unexpected. I was asked to sign an additional non-disclosure agreement specifically about the Game of Thrones machine. When I questioned why, I was told that HBO had approval rights over certain aspects of the game's public perception, and they didn't want any negative technical information being discussed. I refused to sign the additional NDA, and my contract wasn't renewed. 6 months later, after I'd left the industry, I mentioned the Game of Thrones Targaryen mode issue in a gambling forum. I didn't reveal any proprietary code, just the basic math and design concerns. Within 2 weeks, I received a cease and desist letter from the casino manufacturer's legal team, claiming I was violating my original NDA and causing reputational damage. I consulted with an attorney who confirmed that discussing general mathematical concepts and design philosophy wasn't a violation, but the letter was clearly meant to intimidate me. That's when I realized how protective the industry is about certain machines. The Game of Thrones slot is still on casino floors. When you sit down, you'll be asked to choose a house. If you choose Targaryen because you love Daenerys and her dragons, you're selecting the mode that's specifically designed to take your money faster than any other option. The Stark mode has significantly better mathematics, but nobody advertises that. When you see this machine, if you must play it, avoid Targaryen mode. Better yet, avoid the machine entirely.
Any company that sends legal threats to prevent discussion of game mathematics is a company whose products you should question. Machine number 5 is 88 Fortunes, specifically when played at maximum bet with all gold symbols activated. This machine devastated more players than almost anything else I worked on. Let me explain the mechanic. 88 Fortunes allows you to select how many gold symbols you want to activate. More gold symbols mean a higher bet, but supposedly better chances at the progressive jackpots. The machine has 4 progressive jackpots: mini, minor, major, and grand. The mini is usually around $12, the minor might be $80 to $100, the major could be $800 to $1,500, and the grand is the big one, often $5,000 or more. The game is designed so that you have to max bet to have a realistic chance at the grand jackpot. But here's the mathematics that players don't understand. Even at max bet, which is typically around $4.50 per spin, your odds of hitting the grand jackpot are approximately 1 in 73,000 spins. Think about that. At $4.50 per spin, 73,000 spins equals $328,000 in total bets. The jackpot might be $20,000. The expected value is catastrophically negative. But players don't see it that way. They see someone else hit the grand and think, that could be me. I reviewed case studies of players who max bet on 88 fortunes regularly.
One particular case haunted me. Over 18 months of play, this person put approximately $240,000 through the machine. They hit the minor jackpot 11 times and hit the major jackpot twice. They never hit the grand. Their net loss was over $106,000. The mini and minor jackpots they hit regularly just reinforced the behavior. Small wins that feel significant but don't offset the massive losses. The psychological manipulation here is variable ratio reinforcement, the same principle that makes gambling addictive. You win often enough to stay engaged, but never enough to actually profit. The 88 fortunes at MaxBet is particularly effective at this because the Fubat jackpot feature triggers frequently enough to feel exciting. You'll pick gold coins, maybe win the mini or minor, feel like you're winning, but you're actually losing at an accelerated rate. I remember a meeting where we discussed player feedback on 88 fortunes. People loved it. They described it as exciting and fun. Nobody mentioned that they were losing money because the frequent small jackpots disguised the overall loss pattern. That's when I understood that player satisfaction and player profit are not correlated. You can love a machine that's destroying your bankroll. If you see 88 fortunes on a casino floor and you feel tempted to max bet for a chance at the grand, walk away. The mathematics are designed to ensure you'll lose far more than you'll ever win, even if you hit a major jackpot.
Machine number 6 is Sex in the City, and this one represents a category of machines I call losses disguised as wins. This is where the game celebrates when you win less than you bet. Let me explain how insidious this is. Imagine you're betting $2.50 per spin. The reel spin, you land a winning combination, and the machine erupts. Lights flash, music plays, coins sound like they're pouring out. You won $1.25. Except you didn't win. You lost $1.25 on that spin. But your brain registered it as a win because the machine celebrated. This is called a loss disguised as a win, or LDW in industry terminology. And Sex in the City is programmed with an extremely high LDW frequency. I analyzed the pay table and simulation data. Approximately 34% of all paying spins on this machine pay less than the bet amount. But every single one of them is celebrated by the machine as if you'd won. Over the course of an hour, a typical player will experience this phenomenon dozens of times. They walk away thinking they broke even or only lost a little, when in reality, they've lost hundreds of dollars. I've watched player session data where someone played for 90 minutes, experienced 42 LDW events, and genuinely believed they'd only lost about $50. Their actual loss was $340. The Mr. Big bonus round on Sex in the City is particularly frustrating. It triggers roughly once every 200 spins and involves picking shoes to reveal prizes. Based on the programming, 81% of Mr. Big bonuses pay less than 40 times your bet. If you're betting $250 per spin, you're spending $500 in total bets to trigger a bonus that might pay you $60. But because the bonus has flashy graphics and you're picking items, it feels rewarding. Your brain doesn't calculate the net loss. What disturbs me most about Sex in the City is that it targets a specific demographic. The marketing research showed that the game would primarily attract female players who were fans of the show. The LDW programming is particularly effective on players who are less familiar with gambling mathematics. It's not illegal, but it's exploitative. When I brought up concerns about the ethics of LDW programming, I was told that it increases player enjoyment and time on device. Both of those things are true, but they're true because the machine is effectively lying to players about whether they're winning or losing. If you see Sex in the City on a casino floor, or any machine that constantly celebrates small wins, pay attention to the actual amounts. If you bet $250 and win $150, that's not a win, that's a loss.
The machine is manipulating your perception. This particular game does it more aggressively than almost any other slot I've worked on. Avoid it.
Machine number 7 is Ultimate Firelink Tiki Fire, and this is the one that made me quit the industry entirely. The Firelink feature is the main mechanic. You need 6 or more fireball symbols to trigger it. When you do, you get 3 respins. If you land more fireballs, the respins reset. The goal is to fill the screen. The problem is how the game is programmed to handle the feature. I analyzed 10,000 simulated Firelink features on Tiki Fire. 87% of them triggered with exactly 6 fireballs and never collected any additional ones during the respins. The feature would trigger, you'd get excited, you'd watch 3 spins, and nothing would happen. You'd win whatever small amount was on those original 6 fireballs, usually 10 to 20 times your bet, after spending 60 to 80 spins or $30 to $50 to trigger the feature, you'd win $12. But the psychological torture doesn't end there. During the respins, the machine shows fireballs landing just above or just below the visible reels. You see them dropping in, almost landing, but they miss. This visual near-miss programming is designed to make you think you were close to a better bonus. You weren't. The reels are virtual. The fireballs that almost landed were never gonna land. They're just animations designed to create frustration and motivation to keep playing. I remember the day that broke me. I was reviewing player complaint data, and I read a case about an elderly woman who played Tiki Fire every day for months. Based on her players' card data, she was losing approximately $400 a week. She was on a fixed income, using her late husband's life insurance money. The casino knew this. They had her spending patterns, her play frequency, her total losses, and they did nothing. In fact, they sent her promotional offers to encourage more play on Tiki Fire, specifically because the data showed it was her preferred game. I asked why we weren't flagging this as problem gambling behavior. I was told that casinos are responsible for managing player welfare, not slot manufacturers. We just make the machines. That answer disgusted me. I was writing code that was being used to extract money from vulnerable people, and I was told it wasn't my problem. That's when I started looking for a way out of the industry. Tiki Fire has a base RTP around 85%, which is terrible. Combined with the frustrating Firelink feature and the visual near-miss programming, it's one of the most psychologically manipulative machines I ever worked on.
The tropical theme and cheerful music make it seem fun and harmless. It's not. It's extraction software wrapped in pretty graphics. When you see Ultimate Firelink Tiki Fire on a casino floor, remember that every visual element, every sound, every celebration animation is designed to keep you playing while you lose. Walk past it. Those are the 7 slot machines I would never program again. Machines I helped create. Machines I now regret. I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying all slot machines are scams. I'm not even saying these specific machines are illegal. They're not. Everything I described is within gaming regulations. But legal doesn't mean ethical. And just because something is entertaining doesn't mean it's fair. The slot machine industry has become incredibly sophisticated at behavioral psychology and mathematical manipulation. The machines I worked on in my last few years were essentially psychological extraction tools. They were designed to identify your behavioral patterns, exploit your cognitive biases, and maximize the amount of money you'd lose, while still feeling like you were having fun. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this. Slot machines are not games of chance where you might get lucky. They're mathematical systems designed to ensure the house wins over time. Every celebration, every near miss, every bonus round is programmed to keep you playing. The longer you play, the more certain your loss becomes. I left the industry because I couldn't reconcile what I knew with what I saw happening to real people. I've shared these 7 machines because I genuinely want to help you avoid the mistakes I watched thousands of players make. If you're going to gamble on slots, do it for entertainment, with money you can truly afford to lose. Set a limit before you start and stick to it no matter what. And avoid these 7 machines entirely. They're the worst examples of an industry that prioritizes profit over everything else. If this video helped you understand the truth about slot machines, leave a comment letting me know which of these 7 machines you've played before. Hit the like button if you want more honest information about how casinos really work. And subscribe because I'll be breaking down more machines, more tactics, and more industry secrets that casinos definitely don't want you to know. Stay informed, stay skeptical, and remember, the house always has the edge. The only way to beat that is to walk away.